here. Very excited today to have Omri. Excited because he's a member of the Green Room. Woohoo! And Omri is an expert in all things automation, amongst other stuff. But this is exciting because the Green Room has very, very many systems which we've often thought, damn, these things need to get automated. And so this is very much a sort of selfish talk that I would really love to listen to. But thanks, Omri, for joining us this, well, it's the first time all the guys from the office are here. Sounds right. But yeah, thanks for spending the time today. And up to you.
Right, thanks so much. So to automate or not to automate, I'm Omri from Automatica, and all we do is automate. So we've answered this question for ourselves, but today I'm going to take you just through a historical view and speak a bit about automation philosophy, and then also give you a couple of examples, like practical examples, how you can do it in your personal life, in your business as a small to medium firm, and then also how larger enterprises employ automation. So let's take a view of the history of automation. So automation has always been a thing. People have always applied technology to automate various processes, and it started out even before the 1st century BC, but this is the first example that ChatGPT gave me. So the water wheel, which was invented in the 1st century BC for grain grinding, and after that it was used for many other mundane processes. And then came the windmill in the 9th century, also again for grinding all types of things. And also we use this even up to today, where farmers use wind energy to pump water, so you don't have to do a manual pump of water. You can just use the wind power, and automatically the water comes to your well. And then it was in the 17th century, it was this guy, I can't remember his name, but anyways, he created the automatic flour mill, which even took it a step further, where you don't have people doing the replacement of the flour or the grain. It just automatically comes down the chute and then goes in there, and then it grinds in there. So another step of automation. And then we look at the 1900s, Henry Ford's, everyone knows Henry Ford, and he automated a lot of systems or processes in the production line, which was a big step in the way that we produce today and manufacture today, because a lot of the systems are automated. And since then, the 20th and 21st century, we've seen the development of robots in assembly lines and other technologies that arose, like IoT, and of course AI. So you have AI today, which people use quite extensively, like the large language models and so forth. Now, the philosophy of automation. Is automation good or bad? We've seen throughout, as automation has developed, or technology has developed as well, there has been gains in production efficiency. So we leverage automation and technology to produce much more efficiently. And as automation is implemented in a society, we also see economic growth. So there's a couple of studies. The one study shows that where they studied AI patents, right? And as there were more AI patents in a specific country, the economic growth, the long run economic growth also rose, especially now in the last couple of years. But there was also a study that showed quite a bit of, I forgot. Let me just give my notes here. Where another study that showed that with technology that grew and automation that grew, there was a big growth in economy, in the economy, and especially in low GDP countries or developing countries. But on the flip side of that, there's also a big movement in job displacement, where people lose their work, and increased economic inequality. Sorry, that says equality, but it's inequality. Where people with lower skills, they tend to lose their work or have these jobs that are not very satisfactory. And we can also look at the two different types of context, where we've got in the one side, low unemployment rates in those countries, the Western countries, more developed countries. With automation and technology, there's a big boost in productivity and economic growth, and people tend to move towards higher skilled work. Whereas in higher unemployed rate countries, there's a big gap that forms, because all the people with the higher skills, they get new job opportunities, but those who have low skills get left behind. And the question that we need to ask is, to automate or not to automate? Is it good or bad? And it's a complex thing. It's very complex, because there are these two weights against each other, where on the one side we want economic growth and we want to improve the lives of people through technology, but on the other side, on an individual aspect, people lose their jobs, right? And we don't want that. So who is responsible for that? Who is responsible for taking the effect of automation seriously? Who needs to look at it? Well, society at large. So we need to look at ways that we can take these people with low skills and help them up, so that they can also partake in a society where technology is leveraged. The government, they need to employ policies that make sure that we are leveraging automation and technology ethically, and also they need to invest in plans and social schemes to help people and to educate people and train them so that they can partake. And then employers. So if people or employers in their businesses employ automation or implement automation, they also need to make sure that the people whose jobs are being displaced, that they are trained up so that they can add more value to the business and to society. So to automate or not to automate, I would say automation is good, technology is good, it will always be there, it is where everything is headed, or it has always been intertwined with our history, right? So it will always be there, and the onus is on us as a society and us as business owners and individuals to ensure that we leverage technology in a good way and not maliciously. Yeah, so also on a business level, it is crucial that you automate, because if you don't automate, you are being left behind. Because everyone out there is leveraging all these technologies, which is easily accessible today, and if you don't do that, you are putting yourself in a place where you can be disrupted. So it is important that you as a business look at technologies, always keep on learning, and implement those technologies that are available to you. And then on an individual level, it's always fun to automate. So it's not as crucial to automate in your personal lives, but it definitely makes your life easier. For instance, at our house or in our household, we've automated our financial system. And I spoke to Dion as well. He made an entire automation of how they do tracking of their expenses. So every time they spend cash, they track it on Trello, and then they've got APIs that look at that Trello board and then pull it into an Excel sheet so that they can do their budgeting and forecasting in that way. So on an individual level, it's also quite good and fun, and helps you to automate. Yeah, I'm going to stop there. I spoke very fast, but any questions so far before I go into demos and show you a bit about automation? Any thoughts on the topic, or opinions on whether automation is good or bad? Question, I'll get to that. I'm going to show that now. But but in a sense, you are today. There are a lot of tools available, and I'll get into that just to show you what tools are available to help the average citizen to automate all kinds of things. At the moment, while we have to feed a couple of families, it's on the other side. No, I'm just joking. So I think the onus is on every company that we work with, but also it comes down to us whether we feel like it's right to automate a specific process or not, right? And we don't have a specific code of ethics. The code of ethics is instilled in us who decide to automate and leverage that technology. But that being said, I think it's on the employers as well, the people who implement the technology, to make sure that they've got policies in place for how they interact with their employees. Yeah. Okay, cool. Let me move on to practical examples. So to answer that question, there are a lot of tools available to automate all kinds of things. And today, if you were to start a new business, I would say to first have a look at what tools are available and automation tools are available, because this will be the glue of all of your systems. Things like Zapier, there's also Make, which is also an automation tool. If this, then that. So ifttt.com, if this, then that, where you can build your automations by just doing if this rules. And then things like VectorShift, which is a cool AI tool where you can build pipelines, automation pipelines. Like, for instance, you can give in a resume document, a PDF document, and then ask the pipeline to give you out the years of experience of that candidate for a specific skill or something like that, which is quite cool. And you can also build chatbots on this platform. I think for the everyday citizen, Zapier is the best option because they've got the best ads and they've got the best technology, and they integrate with a lot of various systems already. So you can have a look at all of the systems that they integrate with. And then obviously the tool that's being used probably most by everyone in terms of automation and ease of use is ChatGPT, which in a sense is an automation tool. The other day we were planning a trip, and to make my life easier, I just said, give me a 3-day plan for JB to Johannesburg where we can stop, and it's spun out the entire plan, right? So ChatGPT can improve your life personally, but it can also automate a lot of workflows within your business. Yeah.
Did you follow the plan?
So we are going to follow that plan. Yeah, we are going to follow that plan. It's for December.
It'd be interesting to know if it actually works.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know
Yeah.
if you followed the route.
So I said, give me 3 destinations. I want to drive equally every day, and it gave me Graaff-Reinet and Bloemfontein, those 2 destinations, and then the amount of kilometers and amount of hours driving, and then also gave me a couple of reasons why to stay in those towns. So, yeah.
I would like to see that.
Yeah, yeah. But then also, I don't know if you know that, but it can also create pictures. So if we say, give me a picture. Okay. So it can generate pictures for you that you can use in your talks and presentations and all things like that. So if you need a bear with a bazooka or something like that, it can generate those kinds of pictures for you.
Is this on a paid GPT or is this a standard?
Yeah. So this is plus. So everyone can open a free account with ChatGPT, and then they'll use the model 3.5. Well, yeah, 3.5 is the best one that they've got on the free version. And then you can pay 400 Rand a month and then use the pro version, which we use in our business. And we use it for all sorts of things. We use it for planning, we use it for proposal writing, all sorts of things like that. We use it for code. So if we have questions about code, it doesn't do everything perfect, but it does put you in the right direction and helps you with your planning. So you can, it's very good as a soundboard because you put in your ideas and you get a lot out, and you can pluck things together, which makes it a very nice tool to use. Yeah, so for citizen users, these are the tools I would go with, to explore with, to play with. ChatGPT for certain to play with, and to use this even in your day-to-day, because there's a lot of tasks, especially the linguistic tasks that we sit with every day that takes us a lot of time. For instance, that road trip planner, it would have taken me an hour to think and to Google, but I just put it in and it gave me something immediately, instantaneously. But then I also want to show you what big companies work with, because big companies, they have this problem where they can't always choose the tools that they use. So they have these legacy systems that are all systems that were introduced when the company started up or with different business leaders. And for that, we automate across various kinds of systems. So with these tools, they leverage API connections, which most tools, modern tools, come with. API connections so that the tools can integrate in the backend. But then you get tools that don't have those capabilities. And we automate over documents, web applications, native applications, those applications that sit on your Windows machine or on your desktop, Java applications, and also then through APIs that these tools work with. And just to show you an example, this is scary level 1. But what this automation does, we have a tool that we use to log our time, and we also need to log that time on our customer's system. So I was the guy that was logging that time, and I was not listed for that. So we built an automation that scrapes the information from the one system and then emails it to the customer so that they can log the time on their system. So this happens every day at 6 p.m., where it will log on. It will log onto the time logging tool with my username and password, and then interact with that tool, download the CSV, and then send it via email. So let me just run that. Then it navigates to the site. Now it's going to log on.
And what tool is this? Is this in Python actually?
Yeah, this is Python, yeah. It navigates to the right report. But we've had a customer demo where we had to have our hands in the air because they would think it's us doing it. Yeah.
How do we know you're not playing a video there?
Stop with our difficult questions here. Okay. Let me show a different automation. This is not in a video player because I can open today's newspaper. But this one, what it does is it buys products or creates orders on a website. It's a fictitious ordering site. But what I will do is I will upload my list of orders. Here's my list of orders. So that's just an Excel sheet with a long list of orders that needs to be processed. And traditional, or in the past, there was a person that did this robotic donkey work task. But now they don't have to do that anymore. Let me just upload this and submit. What the robot's going to do, similarly, it's going to log onto the ordering site and then interact with that site to place the orders. So it opens up a browser, logs in, and then interacts with that website to place the orders.
I mean, this is what you're doing if there's no API.
Yeah. So this is a front-end integration. And a lot of companies sit with this problem where there's no APIs, there's no way to interact with the systems in the back end, so you have to interact with it in the front end.
It's a slightly scraper type thing.
So scraping, web scraping, what that is
Kind of the reverse of that.
is the reverse. So where you pull information from a website.
But also
Yeah.
fields and pixel
Yeah.
specific.
Yeah.
So my question then is, if they change one block of code on that website
Yeah.
or field, it's
Yeah.
tickets, so you're going to have to redo
Yeah, so what tends to happen is they would change the field, the element, the specific web element, but the text on the element would stay the same. So the submit button, it might change in terms of format, but the word submit. So what we do is we look for that submit button. Yeah. So, but it happens from time to time where people redo a website, and then we need to do upgrades. So it does happen from time to time. Yeah. All right. So that was scary level 2. Now I'm going to go to scary level 100. So what you can also now do with AI is build these AI agents, which do very advanced type of things. Where those use cases that we looked at now was very manual and almost hard-coded sequence. This one, what we did here is we needed to an automatic way to review applications. So a software developer would apply for a position, and then they would do this project, and we needed to review that project, but we don't want to spend the senior engineering hours on reviewing a project. So what we did is put all of that project into one text file, feed it to the AI system, and then say, here are the criteria, give me ratings for this project. So this is the OpenAI platform. Here's my prompt. So I'm telling the machine exactly what to do, and I'm just going to give it this long text, and I'm going to feed it the criteria, and it's going to give me the evaluations. So I'm not going to run through it, but it takes in the project. So yeah, here I call that AI agent, and then I give it the project. This loop runs through all of the criterias, and then it spits out these evaluations. And here,
Just say what a project is, so you mean
like a Python, like a programming a software project. Yeah, yeah. And then it spits out these evaluations. So now the senior engineer doesn't have to go through all of that code. We can just give it to AI, and it gives us the ratings.
So overall, that's an average. Since there's 4 orange dots, only 2 green ones, and a red one. Oh, 2 red ones. 3 green ones, 2 green. Yeah, average. That was an average project.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What's the confidence threshold on that result?
So we determined that, right? So here we could see that the use of explicit weights, the AI gave it a green marker, but then we needed to just update that criteria because we were just saying, what was this criteria? So here we said use of explicit weights. This is all we said. So we saw that that was not a very good evaluation from the bot. So then we said use of explicit weights, and then a couple of other things, and then it changed the green from green to red for that specific evaluation. So that's the way that we train that AI system. But the way that we ensure or make it more strict is by evaluating its response and then fine-tuning it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's all the demos that I have. That's it. Thanks so much. I think automation is very good for cutting out the donkey work, because I don't think it's very valuable for people to do donkey work. Although that will always be the case, there will always be mundane tasks for people to do. For a child or a school learner to automate their homework, I would be very impressed if they could do that, because then they've leveled up. They've learned a new skill. No, laughing, but I'm serious. In that case, I would say. That's the next generation of evolution. I mean, if I think how our parents did homework when I was in school, they went to the library and used encyclopedias, right? And we used Google, which is already an automation. And now they're just using ChatGPT. It's the next step. I think the things that you can't automate are relationships. So I think that's more key things that you need to keep personal. And that's my hope for automation, is that automation enables us as a society to be more interpersonal and be able to relate with one another better. Yeah. Yeah.
So let's say maybe, I guess, I don't know whether we touch on the more ethical side of things, but let's say as a company, I mean, automation gives this lure of economic growth, and we can do anything with automation and all that. But then on the security side of things, you also want to protect all your data, and you want to safeguard your own data, but then I'm thinking maybe there might be an economic lure of, but your competitors' data, you can maybe go and exploit. Let's not go there.
Yeah.
This balance between we can do anything, but let's not do everything because we want to be secure. What's your opinion, and what do you think businesses should consider when evaluating automation proposition?
Yeah, so it also depends on where you are. So if you're a small business or even personally, everyone or a lot of people uses cloud-based tools. So QuickBooks, that's a cloud-based tool. Google is a cloud-based tool. And all of these tools that you use are in the cloud. Adding another automation tool that would just connect all of that, that doesn't really matter. So all of your data is already sitting there. The bigger organizations, they've got a lot of data and they get big bills if their information leaks. And for those, they use on-premises systems. So they have all of their data and information sitting on their servers in their building. And for those cases, you're able to employ technology on that premises. So you would have these bots, Python scripts, automations on that premises, to safeguard that. And there's also a big development in hosting your own AI. So having NVIDIA hardware on premises in your server room and then doing that inferencing or LLM or GPT on your own machines. Yeah.
And I mean, how do you sort of teach yourself these things? I mean, is there like a good YouTuber or, you know, how do you, like that front-end automation, because I've got a lot of things I can't get out of the back end. Is it easy to teach yourself or pick it up or?
No, you have to employ automatically.
Twice a week, every Tuesday and Thursday from 6 p.m. to 8:30. They've got open air session.
No, but there's a lot of content. I think information is so easily available. You can teach yourself anything.
Yeah.
And it's one Google away. There are a couple of South African guys that are really good in giving insight into these tools. UiPath is a citizen developer tool for creating UI automation, so front-end automations. And there's a nice South African guy, his name is also Dion, who makes these videos specifically about UiPath and also Zapier. So that's the one. Yeah, and then there's the other Afrikaans guy, Leon, I think is his name, and he makes videos about the AI tools. So things like Langflow, which we didn't touch on, but VectorShift is the other one that we touched on with the pipelines. He makes nice videos for that tool. Yeah, but I can share some links that I've, yeah.
Maybe when we post, you can put on Slack.
Okay, cool, we'll do. Yeah.
If you mind, cut it there. Omri does work here, so if you guys are around, I'm sure he wouldn't mind answering some more questions. But cool, that's all right.
Cool.
Thanks so much, guys, for joining.
Thank you.